Hey, we're live, apparently. Sound might be working. Let me just see if I can check it. It says I'm live. I'm alive. I'm alive. And what have we got? Okay, we've even got the right screen starting, so it's all good. All right, well, thanks for joining me, those of you that are here. I'm gradually getting better at these live streams, in my opinion. I hope you agree too. Let's move swiftly on and get going. This is just really a holding graphic. We're just like a couple of minutes into it. Why are we doing this thing? Well, offers change. Offers suffer from fatigue. Offers put you in the eye of the customer. Offers signal, my favorite phrase, you are for them. I got some resources for you. There's five resources. I got an essay that describes what this is all about. Just giving you a pretty pointed overview. An essay that goes through how to apply the 5 Ps. A framework I'm going to run through. An essay that covers the mistakes that we're going to cover. And I got a piece on combining engagement with sustainability, which is fundamentally based on creative crafting irresistible offers. And the fifth item is in the resources is a series of lessons and connected to workshops that you could run. So if you have a team, if there's more than one of you, or even if there's just you, there's some exercises there that you can run through, which I think will help. That's why I've done them, just to help. Okay, so the aim of marketing, this is a quote that I love to use, it's from Peter Drucker, is to know and understand the customer so well the product or service fits and sells itself. So it should do. It comes back to that statement I just made. That's for me, right? That's the ultimate end point. So just a little bit about me. I've been in business the last 3 decades, 4 decades. I don't know how many decades, too many decades. And I've worked with a whole bunch of clients, including all of these and many more. And, there's big company names there, but within those big companies are small departments, small teams, some of them part of bigger teams, but they're like small businesses to work with that are just happen to be owned by big companies. Dan Kennedy gave me a fantastic testimonial, famous author, who basically said that I literally like to turn things conventional on their heads, etc., which is pretty true. What I like to do is to take technology really and say, well, hang on, how does that work when it comes to actually communicating with customers? I mean, that's important, right? Because a lot of that technology depersonalizes and gets you away from talking with customers. Now, I understand the need not to talk to them, especially in big markets, but the less you talk to them, the less you can, or the harder it can become to serve them. And at least in the beginning, you need to talk to customers so that you can tune your product to turn it into a mass product. To talk about these things, I've been all sorts of places like Sky, LBC, the Telegraph, Marketing Week, in the UK and the US. Okay, so that's my experience. My experience is based on actually doing this as a job, like not as a job actually, but as a self-employed contractor, consultant, team runner. I've created campaigns and projects. That's largely what I'm known for. Here's a new quote. People do not buy goods and services, they buy relationships, stories, and magic. Key word there is relations. Stories, obviously, you tell a story, you know what a story is, but actually the amazing thing is few companies really tell stories. What most companies do is tell price. Get it cheap, get it now, get some. And unfortunately, that's just not good enough. What that really does is completely screw your own margin and is not sustainable. And magic. Now, what's magic? Well, magic is the thing that happens when you make something work, when you turn it on and it works. You see, a lot of technical products, which just about everything is nowadays, technical people like to explain how things work. I have been guilty of this. I completely understand. But most customers couldn't give 2 hoots. Does it drive me from A to B? And how much will it cost? Right? That's kind of key questions to do, And will I look good in it? Right? These are key questions to do with owning a car, for example. So they're interested more in the story and how they look, the emotional side of things. They may or may not know it's an internal combustion engine. They may or may know it's electric, but they don't need to know how the engine works, how the motors work, or much more. I mean, they expect the batteries to last. They expect the petrol to do so many kilometers per hour. Customers have expectations. And they might ask some further questions about those, or you can weave them into a story and say, well, this is a car that will drive you 700 miles and you won't have to worry about whatever you don't have to worry about. Okay, so according to Deloitte and a study, companies that engage customers through personalization and consistent interactions across multiple channels or platforms see a 30% increase in lifetime customer value. That is massive. I mean, lifetime customer value is a topic that's rarely discussed by most accountants because most accountants are brilliant at accounting, okay, and running accounting practices. They don't think about things like lifetime value of a customer, like most of business owners have to. So just for example, if I sold one thing for £100 and I made £10 margin, fantastic. For every £90 I spend, I make a tenner. But if I could find a customer or a set of customers that would buy that thing 10 times, now I have my £90, which I work and turn, but I end up turning that £90 into £100 over the lifetime value of that client. Whoa, now I've doubled my money and some. That's an important fact. But there's another fact, and it's a competitive one. If you only ever sold one product and made 10%, how much could you spend on advertising and promotion and cost of delivery, etc.? And the answer is maximum of 10 quid. Anything over that £10, you'd be losing money. So ideally, a lot less than 10 quid. But if I sold 10 of these things to the same customer, now my margin's £100. How much could I afford to pay on marketing and costs and delivery and service, etc., to satisfy my clients? And the answer is, well, 10 times as much as your competitor who sells only one. That's competitive advance. Competitive advantage through pricing. But you get there through an irresistible offer, not by discounting the price. Okay, Network Navigator, creating irresistible offers. I've created a framework called the 5 Ps: people, pitch, process, performance, and presence. And it's to help you understand all the different relationships and relations that you have with customers, suppliers, the customer's customer, friends of the customer, literally relations of the customer, and the outgoing network that stems from the customer, but also the network from suppliers, from staff, from all the people around your business. Okay, these are all your networks, and your customers themselves often fit in different networks. So the more we understand the networks that we work within, the more successful we're going to be in infiltrating those networks, which sounds super evil, doesn't it? But it's not really infiltrating. It's more about communicating with those different networks, understanding them, appreciating that they exist, and catering for them, so that you end up with that's for me reaction, which we want. So what's an irresistible offer? I'm so passionate I screamed. What's an irresistible offer? It's a compelling proposition that's highly attractive to your target audience, making it difficult for them to refuse. That's for me. That's what you really want. The long and short of it is your overall offer, your proposition is to get the consumer, your target market, to say, out of all the different suppliers, and there's always tons of suppliers because we work in competitive markets, out of all the people that could supply what you supply, they want to do business with you and you only because you're the one that understands them. Why do you understand them? Because you bothered to take the time to understand them. Right? You're not they'll pay more money for it. Customers will pay more money when they're being listened to and understood, when they feel like you've got their interests in mind, when you can look after them they'll buy from you more. They'll come back. In fact, there's tons of benefits. There's a whole long list of them. Increased, I'm not going to read them all. I'm going to cover them a bit more. You can take a screen grab, but I'm not going to go through every one of them. These are just like 20 or 30. I don't know how many there are there. Loads of benefits to having irresistible offers. Now, according to Harvard Business Review, it costs 25 times more to acquire a new customer. And that is done by retaining a customer. Okay, I just did that wrong. 25 times more than the cost of a single cost of, it costs 5 to 25, might as well read the slide. It costs 5 to 25 times more to acquire a new customer than it does to retain an existing one. That's right. So, in other words, if all we did was spend our time, as so many businesses do, get a new customer, get a new customer, get a new customer, get a new customer, you're just leaving money on the table. Because you could have gone back to past customers and sold them some more stuff. And saved a lot of costs. Made a whole bunch of new profits. So here's an example that I'm going to use, travel case study. I've done my best to hide their name, but you probably see it if you look carefully. The number one thing, offer or statement that appears under the word travel is, you can't see it because it's got the word, I don't know if I can move it. Can I move it? Can I move it? Yeah, I can. Latest offers. There we go. There you go. Cover up the brand. So, latest offers. Great. And then you've got a list of topics across the top which should interest. And then you've got travel around the world for £1,279. So there's your headline, your offer. It's bold, it's beautiful, it's simple. It's got a one-click, find out more. If this isn't right for you, there's more offers. Look, you can click left or right. And I'm using this as a case study. But one other thing about this particular site, look, it's got this slogan there, no one looks after you better. So right at the beginning, it's telling you about these extra values that you can expect from it. And actually, as you go into this site, there's all sorts of statements from the chairman and testimonials and things and pictures of the staff. And you may say this is all standard and it's what you expect. Yeah, it is what you expect. And that's why you can trust them. But they're also all value statements. And when you read them, it's like, okay, I'm getting an understanding here that this business, this firm, cares about its customers and knows the kind of things that its customers are interested in, which, as well as fundamentally, obviously, having a good holiday, but dealing with things when they go wrong, as they surely will. Now, there's even a statement on here about how much tax they pay, because they are a big company. And the numbers are in the billions. I think they're in the billions. This is an enormous business in what is known as a cut price world. So you click on that latest offer button and you get to a latest offers page. Nothing particularly crazy about this page, nothing to dislike about it. Gives you a bunch of options. So now you can choose which kind of offer you want. Obviously they could have had a drop down where you just select, but they've gone for the picture and the big buttons, beach holiday, luxury holidays, and so on. That's their option, but this is a second click. Take note of that. And that then takes you, when you click on one of those options, a third click takes you to a page. This is just a proportion of the page, which I've zoomed in on because the rest of the page is very similar, but I want to get to the details shown on this page. First of all, each holiday starts off with a beautiful picture, a headline, a subhead of where it is, and then a list of key features, and preceded by a saving if there is one, or not if there isn't one. And then it ends with a green price, highlighted price. So not shying away, they're not hiding the price. You may think it's odd that it's in green, but in fact the green is one of the colours of the site and smacks of consistency. They must have measured it. I'm not saying they have. I've signed an NDA. I can't tell you what they have or haven't done. All I'm revealing to you is what you can see by looking at the site. So this is completely public information. But there are elements, you can pick this apart. I love the lists. I mean, this could have been an essay. Would you have read it? Probably not. But can you read a simple list? Yeah. Bang, 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 bang. They could have gone, at the end of each line, it could have been a question mark, which you hover over and find out more information. Which 17 days of fully inclusive car hire? What kind of car? Okay. There are issues. But, at the bottom of the page is a kind of click here to find out more or book now. And you'll find out more as you go through the process. But it took you 3 clicks to get to the offer. A lot of people in e-commerce will say 3 clicks. That's 3 times to lose your visitor. And having spent millions on pay-per-click and analysed, millions more clicks on SEO, I can tell you that for every click, you lose something like 50% of your traffic. Pretty close to 50%. So it varies, but that's what you discover. So you really do want to minimize those clicks. And to have it down to 3 clicks, pretty good. And what they've done to keep you on, I think, is each page is a pictorial. They could have reduced a click. They could have had a drop down, but where, right? I think you'd be hard pressed to even take one of the clicks out. So just going deeper on this case study, understanding and targeting your audience, customer research. I've spoken about this before in the last presentation. Lots of people never do this. That's why I'm talking about it again today, but also because it directly affects the crafting of irresistible offers. When you know what your customer wants, you can give it to them. Pretty straightforward, right? When you know who your customer is, you can segment them. So now you can have different offers for different types of customers. And when you know more about who your customer is, you can personalize it for them. Okay? So you can run research on a one-to-one basis, if you want. But there's all sorts of data that you can find out about people because of their usage online, depending on which country you're in, which country they're in, and what they track and what information is available to you. Or there's nothing to stop you from asking or encouraging them to fill out a questionnaire. Travel case study, crafting a compelling value proposition. Number 1, clear messaging. Complicated, over-complex messaging gets in the way, confuses people. And a confused buyer buys nothing. Emotional appeal. A lot of people that aren't in sales don't realize that just about every single purchase is an emotional one. When someone buys a car, salesmen will talk a lot about the color of the car. And they'll want to know about your family or the people that you live with, to understand who else would be going on those journeys with you. And then they'll be appealing to you and to those relationship issues, those emotional issues. And they'll be saying, well, this suits that and this suits that because you said this. And this is the customization that occurs to make an offer irresistible, because the customer ends up going, yeah, you're right. This is for me. It's that phrase again. Right, that's the phrase we want. There's much talk about unique selling points. Excuse me, frog in my throat. There's much talk about unique selling points. And many people talk about what is the USP of the product. I would argue it's really, the focus should be on the USP of the offer. What does it mean to your customer, your audience? It's not really about you or your product. It's not me, me, me. It's customer, customer, customer. Big difference. That's a big issue when it comes to crafting irresistible offers. Streamlining the customer journey. We talked about the number of clicks. It's about making the process as simple, straightforward as possible. What does the customer want to evaluate? What do they want to understand? What do they want to get to? And yes, it's location. It's also the details. As I said, they could have had an essay, but they had a list of bullet points. Super accessible, simple to understand, easy to absorb. If they had to read a block of text on every one, most of them wouldn't get read. So they would never even, they just like go name, location, price. Everything else, they'd miss. So that's the user experience as well. That's what we're talking about here. Engagement through the irresistible offer, user experience. But we want minimum number of clicks. The reason we want the minimum number of clicks is to reduce the amount of friction that a buyer has to face in trying to work with you. So there are some industries where they deliberately take customers through a series of steps, many steps if they can. And then it gets to a point of a customer saying, well, I don't want to do that again. I'm just going to buy from you because I can't be bothered to go through that with someone else. On the other hand, if someone else offers a really simple process, then that someone else is probably going to end up with more business because it's just reduced friction. Because there'll be a lot of people, the more steps you take them through, that will actually just bail. They'll just leave. They won't do it. They'll get fed up, or they don't understand it, or they can't answer the question, or they get interrupted. There's just so many things. Someone else says, have you tried so-and-so? No, I haven't. I'll go and open a new browser, and they get lost in a different direction. Clear call to action. So, clarity. There's a travel agency called cheapflights.com. Guess what they sell? Cheap flights. But they also sell expensive package holidays. But you're in because of the cheap flights. So you got in on one basis, but you can buy cheap flights. They're not selling a lie. But you can also buy economy packages, but you can also buy deluxe packages. If you trust the brand, if you think you're getting a good deal, if the brand relates to you and you're saying, that's for me, wow, you're in. That clear call to action, right from the beginning, all the way through, powerful, needs to be strong, clear, action-orientated, deliver something. After all of this, are we then measuring what we're doing? And in most cases, the answer is no, we're not. It's annoying. It's sad. But I got some basic KPIs, key performance indicators, conversion rates, click-through rates, customer satisfaction scores. These are the minimum things you should be tracking. And you may wonder, how do we track? And the answer is, go find someone who can help you. That's what I do. That's what I exist. That's how I help. One of the ways I help customers is to not only work out what to track, what's important for you. These are just 3 generics. There are tens of things that we can track. But importantly, they're nearly the good ones, the best things to track are the things that are unique to a specific business. Because every business is different. And when we track the things that count for the business, we end up focusing in on the areas of profit and then tuning the business. Because that's the outcome of all of this. We can do things like A/B testing. So try A, try B. This is about changing the irresistible offer. The more we change our offers, especially at the beginning, the quicker we get to a point of saying, do you know what, this kind of offer works much better than that kind of offer. So we're going to move forward just making this kind of offer again and again and again. And you can make similar offers again and again and again that you know will work or stand a high chance of working because of the changing seasons, because of changing events, because of the time of year. There's so many reasons I can come up with. In fact, I could change an offer every day of the week for years. I've got a program at the moment that I'm running that's 52 weeks out. And the only reason it's not longer is we kind of just got to a point of, well, that's a year we'll go with that. We could have written 5 years easily. And to be honest, the other 4 years will be remodeled on the first year anyway. So we do know that. But on a day-to-day basis, on an offer by offer, we'll be testing every single one, and systematically we'll be working out. So in the real world, offline, how would you do that? You would change your window display. It's difficult to do. It can be. You've got to create signage, you've got to create labeling, you know. But I tell you what, if you turn yourself into a irresistible offer making machine, you just become super efficient at creating offers. And the more offers that you make, the more likely we're going to get all the benefits that I listed earlier. But also the better our offers will become, the happier our clients will be, and et cetera, all those other benefits. The more money we'll make. Feedback and iteration. I actually trademarked a term called iterative innovation. But feedback and iteration is about listening to customers and then changing the offer to suit the customer needs. Because invariably you'll do your best impression or best interpretation of a customer understanding, and then you'll run it out to customers, and then customers will say things like, I'd like that, but I want it with this. They will tend to find ways or ask you to customize it. And you should listen to their requirements, and if you're wise, you will change your product to suit their needs, because you'll end up selling more product, right? Only the government has computer says no, not business. Understanding and targeting your audience. So a lot of this is about building trust with people. So that's where the consistent branding comes in. Also your audience, they use different media. Some use, Instagram, some use Facebook, some use Twitter, some use none of these. Some use just email. Some of them are off-grid. Some people like print. Some people like stuff for the letterbox. Other people hate it and glue it up. It just varies. Okay? But the thing is, when you are present with your message across a different set of media, there's two benefits. The first benefit is you just reach a wider audience. Well, that's great. We like numbers. The second benefit is lots of consumers will consume your material across different channels simultaneously. So they'll be at home, there's a leaflet. They go on a bus or a tube or travel and there's a sign. There you are again. They get to work and they turn on their laptop and there's an email from you, or they visit a site at lunch hour and wow, there's another one. Or they get a message from Facebook and above the message on the screen is, you're ad again, you're everywhere. This is the omnipresence. This is, therefore you must be the market leader. How do you get there? Well, I talked about lifetime customer value earlier. That's one of the routes. More on this at the bit.ly live resources page, where I've got those 5 reports waiting for you. Just go there or scan it and you can download them. We've got the same coming your way every week. Let's check on the systems. Yep, we're still live. I'm only blocking some of the text with my big head. So maybe as part of the resources, I should save this as a PDF and put that there as well. I think I will. Okay, that I'll do. That I can do. Back to Keynote. Yeah. Find your perfect customer. I'm going to run through 6 key benefits. I gave you a page with, 20 or 30, I can't remember earlier. There are so many more. But a 5% increase in customer retention can increase companies' profitability by 25 to 95%, according to Bain. That's massive. No borrowing, okay? You don't have to sell stock. Customer retention. Getting customers to buy again, getting customers to buy often, getting customers to come back. Most companies, most businesses don't give it any attention. It could become your USP. So obviously the benefit is increased sales and revenue. Higher conversion rates. You will just convert more because not every offer suits every person. Also, offers themselves suffer from fatigue. So once a potential customer, has seen the same offer more than once, bang, evaporates. Its meaning disappears. Every single offer, every advert is the same thing. You can be, a detail-oriented car salesman, but an hour later, someone that you've just waxed lyrical to and had a great conversation with will refer to you as the person of who he sells cars. Wow, right? Everything you just said comes down to he sells cars. You need it to go to, I bought a car from that guy. But most people would say, he sells cars. Because he hasn't made it offer irresistible enough. He's gone through the detail about what the car is about, not necessarily what the car would mean to you, which is why you didn't buy it. The more you can relate the product to the user. This is why people who would sell products at home used to be so successful. But nowadays, of course, people won't let them in because they know they're going to be sold to. They won't be able to get rid of the salesperson. But fundamentally, the salesperson would step into your home and they'd spend time talking about you, your family, and then relate all of this to the product that they wanted to sell you. And you'd feel compelled to buy it. That's how it was. That's how it worked. Until people kind of pretty much wised up and said, we're not having that kind of person here because we're going to end up super poor, as many people did. Excuse me. Enhanced customer loyalty is another key benefit. Good offers provides reasons for customers to come back. If you don't make good offers, if you don't change your offer, why should they come back? Where's the appeal? What's attracting them? Competitive advantage. So a lot of people think for competitive advantage, we need to change, we need to be different. But actually what it's about is making your offer different, making your offer suit your customer. Your competitive advantage is your ability to get a customer to say, that's for me. That's what competitive advantage really is. Because everyone sells the same thing, don't they? Yeah? You want a computer? There's 100 places you can go get a computer. Even if you want an Apple, which store? Do you go to an Apple branded store? Or what about Waitrose or, I don't know, some other brand? And when you go there, do they offer a better warranty, better price, more variety, stuff that's in stock? What's the difference? Often you can't tell. But if you had a loyalty card, that could be your competitive advantage. That now becomes part of the irresistible offer. For example, that's how you sell more product. Improved customer satisfaction. When customers feel like they're getting a deal, they kind of high-five it out of the door. Boy, did we get a good deal today. Not only did we get a great price, a great product, a great warranty, we got points on our card, had a fun day for the family. It was all bing, bang, bing, bong. It's all brilliant. This is the experience we want to create. And we can create it with great offers, bringing customers into our store and selling stuff by, building relations, focusing on customer needs, doing our market research, distilling some of the magic we were talking about, and talking about our customer needs, making it irresistible so that customer says, that's for me. Customer engagement. So highly engaged customers buy 90% more often, spend 60% more, and have 3 times the annual value, according to Rosetta Consulting. And it's true. Makes sense, doesn't it? Okay, so here's some practical steps I'm going to run through. We are literally just beyond halfway through, which tallies well with the timing, and we're on the home straight. Giddy up. Okay, action area, customer research. So I've touched on that a few times. There's a couple of reasons, a couple of things you need to do. Touched on it also during the last presentation. Similarly, the value proposition. The crafting a compelling value proposition comes from understanding the customer. It's just very straightforward. Personalization and relevance. This generally happens in the closing process. This, is for you because you have gathered information about that target market, about your audience, about your one-to-one customer that you're with. And you're able to say to them, bang, this is why. And it becomes the irresistible offer. And so your staff need to know about these techniques. It's not just about what you say in print. Trust is something that goes all the way through a business, from the opening page to the closing of the deal when they're standing at the till, if it's a live event. But even if it's not, on the closing page, they should still be reminded of why they're buying it. Emotional appeal. A lot of people don't realize in business, most sales are made for emotional reasons. And lots of people argue that's not the case, but it just is. You buy a blue car because you like blue. It's the color you want to be seen in. There's that classic phrase, I wouldn't be seen dead in that. Or there's why do cheap cars sell next to expensive cars? They've still got four wheels and travels down the road. Because people want to want to associate themselves with luxury or levels of luxury. Some people don't want to be associated with luxury. It's a choice each consumer makes. And you need to understand where the consumer is coming from. And then you decide which kind of consumer you want to attract to create an irresistible offer. What you can't do is be like a politician and try to keep everyone happy all the time. You'll fail. It doesn't work. Cut price. It'll fail. You'll lose margin. There used to be a brand called Woolworths. Probably most people will have heard of them. Woolworths, to cut costs, stopped cleaning their stores. And apart from the health and safety issue and a couple of those stores burning to the ground, what it meant is that they had brown, amongst other things, they had, as well as cutting health and safety, they had brown coloured carpets. And the reason is, when you walked in off the street, the dirt on your shoes would rub into the carpet, which is what happens in any store. But if the carpet was brown, it would show less. It's disgusting. It also meant that the carpets were often soggy, and the store as you went in would have a certain smell to it. Disgusting. And of course, everything inside was cheap and nasty. And some of them burnt down, as I keep saying. They went totally bust. They couldn't afford to repay the loan. They couldn't finance the business because they weren't making any profit, because they were putting customers off, because they were cutting the price so much, because they believed price was so important that they just even upset their own customer base, couldn't attract enough new customers in, couldn't get the flow of business. In the same street, there would be a high-end boutique, hardly any customers. But guess what? When they sold a dress or they sold some clothing in a lap of luxury, one-to-one service, very expensive, they made a huge margin. They didn't need 1,000 customers. Yes, their resistance to sale was high, but when people came over the threshold, they knew a couple of things about those people. Number one was, this was what they expected. This was the kind of service that they required, and so this boutique gave it to them, delivered. Knowing your customer, you can create an irresistible offer that suits that customer. So a final action area here, feedback and adaptation. I can't tell you how many businesses I've been into that have the information everywhere you look, or in many places that you look, and have never really looked at it, have never taken into account. They've been through the motions. They've gathered the information. It sits on their CRM. They've taken all these polls. They've done all these marketing exercises, but they've just seen it as short-term wins in marketing, not as actually adding any value or definition to the business. Crazy, right? Unsurprisingly, the really successful firms don't call me in because they got this nailed, right? Okay, mistakes. We've made a few. And I've just covered a couple. Lack of understanding of the target audience, I think. Done that one to death. Weak value proposition. You know, if your proposition is neither unique or valuable, then it's going to be weak. If you don't match your customer needs, it's going to be weak. Overcomplicating the offer. I've seen this also quite a lot. They make an offer, but it's conditional. It means it's kind of like a false offer. Or it reads like a false offer. Like, it's an offer, but people read it and think it doesn't apply to me. When, of course, it did. And it does. And it should. But it's complicated. So guess what happens when you meet a confused buyer? They walk away. They don't buy. Why? Because they're confused. They can't make up their mind. That's what happens when you deliver overcomplicated offer. So this is the opposite effect. Too much kind of tinkering. Poor timing. This is probably the biggest mistake of all. This is trying to make an offer fix a bad market. You know, if the market is down, the market is down. The only time a good offer will work is when you've got a good market. And then you've got to be careful. Because if you discount, you know, your last item by 25%, that's crazy. You're just giving away margin. If, on the other hand, you've got 100 units and you want to kind of clear half of them so you get the cash back, because that's important for the running of your business, well, maybe you should discount those and lose your profit or reduce your profit, reduce your margin, just to recover cash. Maybe there's a good reason for that. But trying to rescue a business through a great offer, if the market isn't there, the market isn't there. A good offer will help you sell to customers who want to buy. Okay, that's really what it's about. It's about building market share, winning more business, beating the competition, but when there's business to be had. I mean, there's plenty of times where businesses produce product, don't think about the customer, and then there are none. No one wants to buy what they make, or they completely fail to communicate it. Now an offer would, you know, have some value if you could align the product to the market. But you can't make a great offer out of a product that doesn't fit a market. So companies that just like create and produce and expect to sell without market research are really often on a hiding to nothing. And this is one of the things that you can't do when you're on a hiding to nothing, when you've got all your money tied up in stock. You can't buy the tools or invest in the tools. The time has passed. You've got all this stock sitting there. You've got no analytics. So how can you do market research if you don't have any customers? Surely you've got to have product. Well, that's not the case. You can contact customers of other people's products and say, hey, you bought that. You took that holiday. You bought it from that company. Or even, where did you buy your last holiday from? Why did you buy it from them? How did they treat you? What price was it? How did their offer match up with the delivery? How was their service? How was their timing? How was the purchase process? Was there anything that needed to be fixed afterwards? Did anything go wrong with the holiday? And so on and so on. You can discover a lot. And you can build a picture. You can find out, oh, so you or this supplier generally sells to this kind of customer. This kind of customer generally buys this kind of product or service. And so you build up this picture. And then from that picture, you can say what's missing. Oh, we'll go over here because we can be unique. And that's a valuable area that these guys aren't addressing. See? Market research, customer research can give you that kind of information. Then you design a product. Getting emotional again. Okay, how often should I update my audience research? And the answer is all the time. It should be continuous because customers change all the time. When customers come in and they say, I really like that, but I want it with this. That's customer research, right? For example, should I create a customer journey map? Now, you probably recognize this question from the last presentation I did. Yes, if you want to increase sales. Okay, final but one slide. This is slightly different, a new book list. I didn't cover this before. I did cover a book list, but not this book's. Purple Cow from Seth Godin, one of my favorites. Transforming Business by Being Remarkable. Competitive strategy book, which is Blue Ocean Strategy. Influence, which for many people in marketing is the Bible. The Psychology of Persuasion. Very good. Lots of case studies. Lots of people you'll find referring to that. And the Lean Startup, which is more kind of holistic about how to run a business. And similar to my book called How to Start a Business Without Any Money. But of course I wouldn't promote my own business, would I? Okay, so don't forget, this is the final slide. Thank you very much for joining me. You can get the resources for this presentation at bit.ly/live-resources. And next week we're going to be covering online reach. And I can't wait. I will see you then. Thanks for joining me. It's been a pleasure. And any questions, let me know. Leave a message, comment, you name it. Also, if you want to get a 15-minute slot with me, go to that link, bit.ly/resources, and you'll see you can get access to Calendly, book a 15-minute slot, and we can just have a chat. All right. Thank you once again. See you again.